y'all can hear me when I talk. I am coming home from work, so figured I'd come on here and make another video with there'll be no distractions. I am on hands-free for any of those people saying you can't record while you drive. But anywho, I decided that I was gonna, like I said in the first video, I was going to just talk to you guys about life, about everything, about the unpopular opinions coming from those like myself who have not only lived a life full of experience, full of lessons. Today's video will be about a meme that I saw, and it really hit home with me because I was definitely that young mom that was kind of growing up while raising children. I was the definition of the married single mom. Going to try to refrain from making this video about the lessons learned on the side of why I was a married single mom, but more on the topic of raising kids. I was 19 when I became a mom, and you couldn't tell me anything. I thought I knew it all. I was the kid in the family that saw a lot of my parents' issues that kept their secrets. I come from a divorced family where I had the stepmom and the stepdad on either side, and I saw a lot of things that I probably shouldn't. And so I also experienced a lot of things that were pretty bad. So at the age of 16, I found a way to run away from that home. And doing that, you become the young lady who thinks she knows it all, and also does not rely on those around her because they have all failed her. A recipe for unlearning, for things that I did not want my kids to experience, but in a way they did. I was raising myself on top of raising my children, and my first 3 children unfortunately got to see a lot of traumatic things. They got to experience a lot of traumatic things, abuses, mental, verbal, and physical. Lots of physical before I kind of just fell off and let go. And that's when not only they had to see their father's addictions, but where I finally let go, joined in, and fell into addictions, fell into the cycle of addictions. Graciously, I kid as long as you can do it. The kind of love that I was seeking when I left my home as a child was only the love that I was taught in the home. And that kind of love made me accept all behaviors, good and bad. Mostly bad. And I didn't understand that no matter how much I would accept, I would make an excuse for, it didn't give me the fulfillment that I was seeking. It was chaos and pain and misery. Not to say that there wasn't good days, because those were few in between. But why did I still stay? Why did I allow myself to believe that that was all I was worthy of? Because that's what I was taught. My dad, though he tried his best in the beginning, he had his own problems. He was definitely the man who had infidelity, sorry. And that is why him and my mom broke up. And it continued, those patterns continued with my stepmom. And then I became the child who he would take to people's houses where I would babysit the kids and he would disappear into the room. And like those occurrences when I was a child, seeing those things, being seen and not heard, like I said in my first video, I learned to lie. I didn't speak up for what was right, and I didn't speak up for anything that was happening to me because the one person that I thought I could trust was doing things that weren't right. And so I accepted it from the spouses I chose in the beginning. I accepted those behaviors because that's what I saw, so I thought it was right. And my kids then saw pain, saw the light leave my eyes, fights, yelling matches, screaming matches, long paragraphs sent, a mom who was distant. She loved it. I loved them. My love for my children was never, you couldn't deny it. I loved them. But I didn't know anything else, and that is not an excuse to stay. It wasn't until my children-in-law watched me almost lose my life twice that I woke up the second time, where they watched me get the life pretty much beat out of me. That I realized that I was inflicting traumas that I see growing up on them by staying. That is when I learned that protecting my peace, separating, building boundaries was a must. the unthinkable. Today, I can say that my children see a completely different person. The love, like I said, was undeniable, and I would have done anything for my kids. I still do. Still would. But now I choose to show them the peaceful mom, the not in survival mode mom. And I do that with the help of my husband, who has helped heal those wounds, who is gentle. You only get to raise your children once. So show them a relationship that you want them to mirror. Show them love, real love, gentle love. They got to see the mom who never gave up, who never threw in the towel. And now they get to see that mom plus one that is happier, who has the light back in their lives, who is gentle. Even the way I communicate, the way I have to discipline is gentle. I have had to help them heal from things that they saw. I've had to calm their nightmares. I've had to apologize, explain, get them to understand why the past behaviors were not okay. And I don't think I would have ever had to do that if I would have learned in my childhood the proper way. Like I said, there is no perfect family. There is no perfect time. There is no perfect relationship. But at some point,